do so many sessions with people, and they come to me and they said, I had this experience. Cool, you're in the reality of talking to entities. And they go, well, they showed me a blue orb. I had this blue orb. What does it mean? And I'm like, it doesn't mean anything, because as soon as you take it and try to say what it means, you're pulling it back into 3D and you're missing it. You don't think outside the box by thinking. You think outside the box by stepping outside the box and then shutting the thinking part up and go, ooh, what do I have here? I have a blue orb. So you see, what many of us do is we try to pull our 5D experience into 3D so it could make sense. Of course, that slows us down and keeps us at these lower levels, right? Now, you don't have to go all the way at once like these people I'm talking about, but when you get these 5D experiences and you want more of them and you want to expand in that direction, what you do is not force it into 3D. You take the 3D and bring it into 5. Stop asking what it means, because it means you have been given a gift. You can't put 5D into 3D. You got to take your 3D and move it into 5D.
Welcome to Becoming Awesome with Peter D. channeling his sacred higher self.
Hey, you beautiful souls. I'm really excited to be with you today. I'm going to be talking about an amazing person I met this week. Just blew my mind. And after I share this experience, I'll be bringing in my sacred higher self to speak about some action steps we can take with the learning of what it's like to move into awakening very quickly. First, please help me out. Like, subscribe, share this video if you find this message resonates with you. And let's dive into it. So, I run across a woman who awakened instantly, and not just in a small little way, but in a super big way. You see, she was kind of a party girl. She would spend her weekends, at least one night on the weekend, getting totally plastered with her friends, and that's what she did. And one day she was doing this several years ago, and somebody popped a date rape drug into her drink. Now, she knew something was going on, and rather than lose consciousness, she found the strength of will to say, I'm going to stay awake through this. And she made her way home, which was over 2 hours by train. Okay. After this experience, everything is different. All the walls broke down, and she was totally connected to spirit in a big way. And I mean that like suddenly everybody is there talking to her. She was talking about things like I could just see my whole timeline, my entire future laid out in front of me. I can see all my past and my past lives. I can have all these entities that were talking to me. She said it was just crazy making. And in fact, that's how her family treated her. They thought, oh my God, this was a traumatic experience with this drug. And so they gave her a little leeway, but then it didn't stop. She kept talking about her new perception. And as a result, she was starting to get worried that they were going to commit her. So she had to tone it back and say, okay, how do I pretend that I'm solid here? But she said mostly she would just stay at home and sit on the sofa. And I can relate to that. If you read Eckhart Tolle's book, when he had his awakening experience, he awakened in a very big way all at once. He said he spent several months just sitting on park benches because that was pretty much the new reality of it. Now, I'm telling you this to not try to scare you off. I'm trying to say that many of us move into our awakening slowly. And we do that for good reason. Because if you have reality stripped away from you and you're suddenly seeing things and hearing things that nobody else does, and it's in a big way, and nothing else kind of matters because all that old stuff is kind of meaningless when you're at that level of awakening and you look back at things, then how do you function? And especially if you're in a family situation or in a work situation, how do you function? So for most of us, the awakening goes pretty gradually in smaller steps. Now, here's an example of a woman who just went from 0 to 60, just taken right off just like that. And it created a lot of havoc. And not only that, it created not knowing. There was no sense making of this because 3D was gone. 3D reality was gone. How do you make sense of something when you have no words and nobody to talk to about it because they think you're crazy if you do talk to them about it? So I want to share a little bit of what I happened to experience while speaking with this wonderful woman who, spent several years sorting it out. And I'd like to share some lessons with you that I know about how awakening works so you can ease your transition and still move as quickly as possible. So let's dive into that with an explanation that was given to me on how awakening works. Now, imagine an arbitrary scale of 100 steps. And each step is twice as far. So if this is the first step, that's the second step. And then the third step's out here. And then the fourth step's across the room. And you know what I'm saying. Pretty soon you take that fifth step and you're hundreds of yards away. And you take that sixth step and you're miles away. And you take that next step and you're all of a sudden out of the atmosphere. And you take that next step and all of a sudden you're outside the planet. And you still have only taken a few steps. You're still taking 10, 15 steps out of the 100 because it gets so vast so quick. Now imagine popping at a very high level where nothing makes sense anymore. That's the situation that this one woman experienced. And she's not the only one. I've met several people. One beautiful guy I was doing a session with said, "Oh yeah, I was just meditating." Not a drug-induced one, right? He was just meditating. And, all of a sudden, after that, everything was different. He could hear entities. He could walk down the street and know the emotions of every person around him and why. A big kind of empathy field. And he was okay with that. He said, yeah, it was fine. One day I was just putting my consciousness outside the bedroom window, and I live on the second floor, so my consciousness was up in the air and it was all cool. I could see things out there. And then the wolf-headed people showed up. That's when he called me. Right? What do you do with wolf-headed people? I've never met wolf-headed people, but I had to teach him what little bit I know about being sovereign. Nothing, absolutely nothing comes into your field without your permission. Nothing. You must declare that and own that, and then say, look, only beings of love and light and service to the divine can come into my field, period. And you have to assert this. Otherwise, entities will be coming, trying to get a piece of you. You know how that goes. That's why many of you have been scared about this, and that deep-seated fear, which from other lives or this life really, so many people I've worked with had experiences in childhood where they met ETs or angels or something like that, and they're still freaked out today, right? So you have to get over that by understanding you're sovereign, not by the whole protection game, because you run down that road, it just gets worse and worse, and bigger and nastier entities will come to you. Just sovereign. Nothing comes to me without my permission, and only beings of love and light can come into my field, period. All right, big step up. But anyway, if you don't know that and just go from zero to way out there and then, whoa, wolf-headed beings, and they're actually not terrible. It's just that he freaked out at the sight of them. Okay. So I know this is all crazy talk, but yeah, that's how it was with these people who had these instant awakenings. I know. Actually, I saw it happen in real time once. Tracy was all weekend, we were at a conference, and she was being told, I got to give this person an awakening blessing. I just got to give her awakening. And finally, at the end of the conference, she just runs up to her as the lady was leaving. Look, all weekend, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I got to give you awakening. Just a young woman. And you should have seen her eyes. And her head's like, she's in this space for a while. And then Tracy says to her family, it was there, just take care of her for a few hours. And we walked away having passed that on. But all this stuff is really, really scary because there's no steps on how to do it. Now, I'm fortunate. I went to Oneness University several times, like 4 times for a month or so each time, and just was in class all day. And Bhagavan, right over my shoulder here, he's an avatar. I mean, I'm talking like raise the dead abilities kind of skills that this, you guys know what an ascended master is? Well, he's an embodied master on the planet. Okay, so we're talking that level of skills and ability. All right, so he's running this university trying to help people by showing them the ropes. He said, this was really interesting, he said, I used to just awaken people all at once, and then their families would freak out and complain. So now it's measured out on small little dollops, and with a lot of teaching to understand it. Now, fortunately, I've received many of these teachings, and not just his, but also when I was at the Ramtha School of Enlightenment, and a lot of self-study from just pretty much everything I can read, right, and make sense of. Right use of will books, those were really, really helpful. Not for understanding anything, but for being triggered emotionally to get rid of these blockages so I could let more of this different realities come in. That's the whole thing, is how much of the different realities you're going to let in. We're all clenched really, really tight. And so new experiences try to come in and they can't. So we just stay here and then we complain because we're so tight. How come I'm not awakening? How come all these other people have these skills and stuff, right? But when it comes to you, it's like, no, I've got to hold the stuff. So that was the right use of will stuff and all that stuff I teach about. Clear, clear, clear. It opens you up, but it does it slowly. Now, what was really interesting was that when I met this woman, she would say to me, Peter, I found your stuff and it was really helpful. There's lots of other cool things she did. I mean, after all, she decided the relationship she was in wasn't working, got out of that, sold the house they had together and went around the world to try to find out what was going on. So, all the sacred places tour around the world. Ended up here in Santa Fe. We ended up talking. And she said, Peter, your stuff is actionable. A lot of this stuff out there is really, it's true, right? It's all uplifting and spiritually nice, but yours is actionable. What do you do here while you're in 3D? So, of course, my head swells, and I love that, and I get to say it to you guys. But what I'm trying to share with you is there are steps you can take, things you can do to really make sense of this and get the most out of it. So if you're only moving at a slower pace, which is recommended actually, then you can up that pace by bringing in the teachings that then help you to use this. And I'm not trying to give you dogma or religion. No, none of that. I'm just trying to give you some how-tos. We're in a new reality, and this is how you navigate that stuff. I'm putting most of what I know in my books. My Ascension Handbook 1 and 2 are right here, okay? And 3 is going to come out at the end of the summer. This fall it'll be there. So it'll be a lot of explanation on how to use this stuff. And of course these videos are here for. So the library is being built. Even though I keep my little old me goes, no, I don't get enough subscribers. Nobody's hearing this. And Spirit just laughs at me and says, Peter, not everybody's going to pop in a big way right away. A lot of them are still tight and scared. A lot of you watching this know what I'm saying. Okay, so you're still at those lower levels of waking, 2, 4, 5, 6, and maybe 8 or 10, and still you're getting these experiences, but you don't have any place to do it or understand what it means. I love it. I do so many sessions with people, and they come to me and say, I had this experience. Cool, you're in the reality of talking to entities. And they go, well, they showed me a blue orb. I had this blue orb. What does it mean? And I'm like, it doesn't mean anything, because as soon as you take it and try to say what it means, you're pulling it back into 3D and you're missing it. You don't think outside the box by thinking. You think outside the box by stepping outside the box and then shutting the thinking part up and go, ooh, what do I have here? I have a blue orb. So you see, what many of us do is we try to pull our 5D experience into 3D so it could make sense. Of course, that slows us down and keeps us at these lower levels, right? Now, you don't have to go all the way at once like these people I'm talking about, but when you get these 5D experiences and you want more of them and you want to expand in that direction, what you do is not force it into 3D. You take the 3D and bring it into 5. So I have this blue orb. What does it mean? It means you have a blue orb. Cool. It means you've been given a gift that is not understandable at this moment using 3D. So why don't you let go of that and focus on the gift and see what evolves in 5D? Maybe it's a talisman. Maybe it's a key. Maybe it's an opening. I get this from so many people. Oh, I've had these dreams or these entities show up and I see these visions and these geometric patterns. What does it mean? What does it mean? Stop asking what it means, because it means you have been given a gift. Now receive it on the terms of the gift. I know this doesn't make any sense, but hey, you can't put 5D into 3D. You got to take your 3D and move it into 5D. Oh, so I've got this and I'm having this experience and I'm seeing these fractal patterns. At a minimum, you go, cool, thank you, more please. And then you play in it for a while. And when that mind's going, what does it mean? What does it mean? That's your way of trying to pull back. Be aware of your mind trying to pull you back and go, that's beautiful, mind. But maybe it has no meaning and maybe it's not something to understand the meaning of. Maybe it's just something I be with. And then I gain wisdom or an emotion or a knowing. See? You can expand in that way. And then you take another little step up that scale and you get more comfortable with it. Me, I've just been at this long enough and complained about it. How come I'm not moving fast enough? Until I finally got it together and stopped asking why to everything. And just allow it. Now, it's kind of fun because people all over contact me. They see my videos and stuff because, you know, the information finds you when you're ready. Okay. And they contact me and they just tell me even more amazing experiences. I can't even tell you how many different wild ones there are. It's like, what? That's possible? I guess so. You did it. So when I hear somebody tell me something, I do not judge it or think it or try to understand it. I sit there and go, wow, that's a new aspect of reality that's available. I'm going to let that pass through my consciousness and maybe I'll experience something there. And that's it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I know the world is even more amazing and the universe is even more incredible by allowing it. So now that I've talked to you about how this whole process works and how it can be really fast, and some of you have chosen to go on the super fast track, and then you have to deal with all the freak out, and some of you are choosing to fight every little bit of it and then keep dealing with the freak out anyway because you just milk that freaking out part, you know, but that's cool. You know, you make your bed and you sleep in it. You choose your path and you walk it. There's no right or wrong to any of this. I'm just letting you know what it can be. So now this beautiful person said, okay, I've got this conversation with these higher entities, and she's been picking up all kinds of dimensional beings. It's really fun. She was telling me, I didn't even know these beings existed. I was watching your video on Sekhmet, and I just tried connecting to her energy. And now I talk to her, and I'm like, right on. That was useful. Okay, so this is kind of how it's going to be for you. It's just right on and useful. You just let yourself come to it. All right. So now she says she's talking to this higher dimensional entity, which she knows is her higher self. Okay. And it shows her that game hopscotch that you play. And you have the chalk where you draw the little boxes and you jump from here to there and here to there. And it's kind of fun when you're like 10. And okay, but then all of a sudden you can hop through boxes. Very cool. Very nice. So this entity, her higher self, was telling her, can you take the chalk and make it bigger? Or can you step outside of the chalk? And this has been the whole game that she's been playing to learn about what's out there, especially because as soon as she was thrown into this vast awareness, everybody around her, you know, her significant other, her partner, her family were like, crazy talk girl, crazy. All right. And so she had to pull back. And now she's at that point where that is being reflected. Of course, you know, I can't tell her nothing. She's a beautiful soul and she's got the ability to get it directly from source. But what I did tell her was, as within, so without. So you had your family reflect to you for a while that, hey, look, you know, this is crazy stuff. And that means that inside you're holding the belief this is crazy stuff. And now your spirit's telling you, hey, let's step outside that chalk line. Let's make a bigger chalk thing. Let's play a different game. And have to, you know, that's why I keep telling you, clear, because in her stuff, she has to clear all the stuff. Well, what am I crazy? You know, self-doubt, self-worth, feeling loved, trusted, respected, all that stuff, safe. Got to clear that out. And of course, you don't clear it by just saying, get out of here, negative stuff. You always go into it and fully allow the expression. Fully allow the expression of the sadness, of the self-hate, of the self-doubt, of the lack of love. You feel the pain of it. And that clears, and then you connect to source and just get it replaced. That's counterintuitive, but how it works, because it's not a 3D kind of thing. All right, so that was the message she shared with me. Let's get some chalk and draw some new lines. So now I'd like to bring in my sacred higher self and share some more reflections on what this means. So please welcome in my sacred higher self. Dear beautiful entities, we love to be with you. We're with Peter all the time now. He worries that he's not sure anymore if he's talking or we're talking, but the reality is we all talk together. And that's just and beautiful. And now when he steps aside and says, okay, take the driver's seat for a while, I'm going to go chill, we can speak to you. And it's so, so delicious because we get to connect with your energetic fields. You do not think any of this is possible yet, but here you are watching a video in some faraway place in the world at some different time, and yet we're connected with you and we feel it. And you're getting there. And that's just how expansive and crazy how that chalk line you can go. And of course, Peter loves it because when we do this and he just sits back, he's filled with such love because it's you that we connect with. And do you know, it's not just us and the connection, it's you, because you are source beings, you are love incarnate, and we get to enjoy that. And so does he. Thank you. Now, this whole idea of what is your pattern of growth, and do you want to do it all at once or take it in measured steps? A lot of the measured steps is the fear. And when Peter first did his clearing work, he made a list of everything he was afraid of. And for 2 summers, every day he would just go through his list. He pretty much got through it the first summer, but did it again anyway and uncovered deeper levels. And it didn't seem like he was making any progress, just summer of struggles and followed by summer of struggle and all that fear. And, at first when you don't get immediate release because you don't clear it all, so you don't feel it, it can feel like, why am I doing this? This is hard. This brings back so much pain. But he stuck with it because he knew what the prize was there. Now, it's not going to be that hard or that long for you because the energies are stronger on the planet now. And he and many other people, just like he spoke of being at Oneness University, many of those monks worked very hard on their personal lives to clear so they could be his teachers and he could be in their field. Now there's many people on the planet, not just Peter, many, carrying beautiful energies, and you're in their fields. So, can you do a little bit of the lifting for yourself? Can you just simply make a fear list of what you're afraid of? And particularly afraid of your bigness. Well, we talk of God realization, you and God like this, no difference at all. Look in the mirror, say hi to God. Can you do that without being terrified? Oh, poor little old me. Or what will other people think of me if I walk around believing that I'm source incarnate? Because you are, and so are they, but what will they think? Just like the girl in the story. Not a girl, the woman in the story. She had to face all this. And we're asking you, why wait? Face it now. Make a list and start to do your processes on clearing your fears of your greatness, of your bigness. That is the biggest thing we can tell you. The other thing is, what a beautiful, beautiful soul this woman is. That she would take this on and at least share it with Peter. We know she's going to share it more publicly in a very big way. And it's going to help so many people who, because the beauty for her is not only that it was an all-at-once transition, not that she's at that 100 step yet. She's pretty far along, but much, much further to go, all of us. And what's beautiful for her is she had no awareness of this. Spirituality wasn't a thing. Getting drunk was a thing. Hanging with your friends after work, doing your job real good, and then go and getting drunk, that was a thing. So many people are living that lifestyle now. And here is a person who has lived it, therefore understands it and empathizes and can help so many others as they transition on the planet. We're all going to go. The question is when. We have told you, and I have told Peter, that if just left to its own devices, this whole process of ascension for the planet will take about 400 years. And it doesn't have to. It can be as quick as 40. And it doesn't have to be, oh my God, everything comes crumbling down. But it does mean that you have to look at what's inside you. So many people contact Peter and say, I can't take it. It's so painful. I can't go on. What's the problem? Hurry up. Get faster, spirit. Well, as within, so without. If you can't take it, there's something inside you holding that's very, very painful. Feel it, love it, give it the love you want to give to the world. Give the pain the love, not just saying, oh, I love you, pain, not a mental thing, but I love you. How do you want to express? What do you need, pain? And then, of course, it wants to cry. And it wants you to be present and hold its hand while it's crying so it can move through your body and be released. And then you can contact Source much more easily. Then you will not feel this pain that you're so worried about. It's going to take so long and last so long. So yeah, please look within if that's what you're seeing in the world around you, outside you, and you do wish to move quicker. This is all going to happen beautifully and in its time. It's no accident that this beautiful woman popped in the beautiful way she did. And now is sharing it first here and then with the world when she's ready. It is such a gift. And many of you, many of you listening right now have this gift. You're starting to feel it. You would not be attending these videos if you were not aware of it and starting to feel this. Now, can you allow it more? And that allowing, of course, is always, can you go inside and see what is so frightfully held in, that all this stuff is just so distant to you? You have this. It's your chalk. It's your game of hopscotch, it is called. It is your game. You can make the shapes you want, in the configuration you want, in the colors you want, bigger than you want, and then you will see all these things. And we laugh so hard about the story that Peter told you of the wolf-headed beings. There could be beings that come into you that are just outside of your consciousness right now. Even on your planet, you can talk to whales, you can talk to trees, you can talk to all the different animal consciousnesses once you open up to them. Now imagine all the permutations of life in the galaxy, in the cosmos, in the dimensional realms. So yes, it doesn't matter that it looks this way or that way. There's so much available to you. And we are so happy that you are going to consider this. So please start working on your fear list now. What are you waiting for? The 400 years? You don't have to jump off the bridge into the streaming gorge and get swept away like the woman in the story. No, you don't have to do that. But what are you waiting for? Start to do your clearing, start to do your work. These are processes that are designed for where you are at. When Peter learned them, he was experimenting to see if this worked for himself. And amongst the teachers he went to, he would pick and choose and find the right combinations. And yes, they all work if you're in the right alignment with them. And here is a set that we ask you to take on. Not the only way to do it, but a very, very beautiful way to do it. Do your clearing work. We're going to leave you with that now. Stay blessed. All right, this is Peter D. I'm back now. Not that I'm ever really gone, I'm still there. But I just love my higher self because I get to feel the energy love flood. When I started this video, it was all mental. But now I'm so connected, and it's just so wonderful. And it's you I'm connected to, and it's you who have these abilities and skills, and they are going to unfold. And I hope what I've talked about today will help you. Remember, it's a 100-step journey, and each step's twice as far. And when you take that step, that when you're on Pluto and you launch off to Alpha Centauri, that's pretty far down the way, but it's still not even halfway there. Because then you'll launch from Alpha Centauri to the whole galaxy. And then you'll take another step from the galaxy to the multiverse. And then from the multiverse to all the dimensions. Yeah, it's just bigger and bigger and bigger till you finally get to your oneness with God. It's a beautiful journey. Why rush it? And why sit on your butt and keep waiting at these little low steps? Okay, thanks a lot. Please give me a like. Please give me a subscribe. Share this video if you think it makes sense and you're finding people trying to grapple with their issues of this awareness that's coming to them. Maybe you can encourage them to try a process. Or if you haven't done one yet, try a process. They're on the website. Okay, you're so wonderful. God, you're an amazing. Because now that Spirit connected me with you all, I'm like, whoa. Thank you. God, you're beautiful. I love you. Bye-bye.